Alright folks, Mr. Heiser back here again working on our mechanical arm project and continuing to make our part files for this hydraulic or pneumatic arm. Alright, so here's our bill of materials for our mechanical arm, and we're picking up at part number 6, which is the gusset. So I'm going to scroll down and find part number 6 down here. And if you've had me for Intro to Tech before, you'll know that these drawings are done in what's called orthographic projections, okay, which are drawings that show the front view, the top view, sometimes when necessary the right side view, and then an isometric view, which inventors your home view, which shows that shape at a 30-degree tilt. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is draw a shape that has a 3.25 height and a 4.25 width. So I'm going to close out of these files here that I've created and get back to my home screen, and I'm going to open up a new part file. Alright, so I'm going to use the rectangle tool here, and I'm going to again dimension this to a width of 4.25 by 3.25, and this is what my square will look like. So I can now finish the sketch, and I'm going to hit extrude, and I need to go back to my drawing. Up here you can see the dimension 0.25. That is what I'm going to extrude it to. Okay, there it is. So now to make my gusset, I'm going to put a 2D sketch on here, and I'm going to project the geometry, and I'm going to draw a line that goes through here. You'll notice that says I'm missing 2 dimensions. Pretty easy. Those dimensions are 0.75 from the bottom and 0.75 on the top. So we're dimension from the edge to this end point, 0.75, and then from this edge to this end point, 0.75. It says I'm fully constrained, so I can finish the sketch, hit extrude, and I'm going to switch to my cut tool and remove the part that I don't need, and there is my gusset. Now, this is not pine. I'm sorry, it's not maple. I need to change my material. Okay, part 6 says pine. So if I go back to my inventor, you'll notice that under wood, pine is not an option. So I'm going to switch over to my other options. And there it is, yellow pine under here. And there is my gusset. So save as. Make sure you're saving things to your mechanical arm parts folder. Part 6, gusset. And I'm ready to move on to part 7. Alright. Part 7 is a stop bar right here. Alright. So this time I'm going to make a rectangle that's a width of 5 and a height of 1.5. Alright, so here's my rectangle that has a width of 5 and a height of 1.5. And I'm going to finish the sketch and extrude it to a depth of 0.25, like it says up here. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is create these arcs that you see on the end here. And these have a radius of 0.75. And the way we do this is by a tool called fillet, which is right up here in our ribbon. And a fillet is used, as you can tell in the picture here, to create rounded off edges. So I need to change this to a 0.75 radius and hit enter. Move my menu here. And I'm going to select this edge right here and this edge over here and hit enter. And there is my stop bar. So let's go back and I'm going to take a look at my material now for part 7, which says pine plywood. Okay, I'm just going to use pine again for this project. Alright, and I can do a save as. Save as part 7 actuator stop bar. Alright, let's move on to part 8. Part 8 is the base. Pretty easy one. It's way down here. Here's my base. Okay. I'm going to make a rectangle that's 11.25 wide and 0.75 high. So a new file. I'm going to create that 2D sketch. Create that rectangle. And again, 11.25 by 0.75. Alright. And I'm going to finish the sketch. Alright, so again, a width of 11.25 and a height of 0.75. And I'm going to extrude it 11.25. I don't need to do anything else to it. There's my base. And I'm going to make this plywood, it said. And because plywood isn't an option, I'm just going to use birch for this here. And I'm going to save as. So save as part 8 base. Alright, let's keep moving along. Part 9. Is going to be my pivot rod support collar. Alright, here it is. So part 9 is right here. I'm going to make a rectangle that's 1.5 wide, 0.75 high. Draw my rectangle. And again, 1.5 wide, 0.75 high. Finish the sketch. And I'm going to extrude it to 1.5. Okay. So going back to my screen now. There's a hole in the top that goes all the way through. And it's centered, and it's a diameter of 0.75. So going back to my screen, I'm going to put a sketch plane on this top face. And I'm going to project the geometry. And I'm going to use the circle tool and dimension it to 0.75. And when I dimension this, I'm going to dimension from the center to this edge up here, 0.75. And I'm going to dimension from the center to this edge over here, 0.75. It's blue. It's fully constrained. So let's finish the sketch. Switch to cut. Cut out our hole. And there it is. So if I look at the material for part 9, part 9 is made out of pine. Alright, so let's go back and make that happen. Alright, and let's do a save as. Part 9 again is called the Pivot Rod Support Collar. And there it is. Alright, let's do part 10. Part 10 is the sub base. Here it is. Again, a rectangle that's 5.5 wide and a height of 0.75. Alright, so finish the sketch. And I'm going to extrude this 3.5 inches. And I got 3.5 in the drawing by looking at the side view right here. Alright. So the next thing I need to do is put a hole in the top here. So I'm going to put a 2D sketch plane on here and project the geometry and use my circle tool and select dimension. And going back and looking at my project plans, I'll notice that the hole is a diameter of 0.75 and it's 1.5 in from the bottom right corner each way. So let's make that happen. Dimension it to 0.75. And from here to the edge is 1.5. And then from here to the bottom is going to be 1.5. I can finish the sketch, extrude it, and cut it. And there's the hole. Alright, so lastly I need to put the arc on. And you may remember we used a tool earlier called fillet. That's exactly what we're going to use again. And this is a radius of 1.75. So I'm going to come back here and use fillet. Change this to 1.75. And select this edge and this edge and hit apply, and there's my sub base. Don't forget to change the material to pine, and we can now save it. So I'm going to do a save as part 10 sub base. And here's my range. And that is how you make parts 6 through 10.